Let's talk about the G word, gentrification. It means different things to different people. The dictionary defines it as the renovation of homes and businesses in deteriorating urban neighborhoods by upper to middle class families. Tonight, though, we're getting into that uncomfortable conversation and pushing some buttons. Does progress mean there's no place for poor people? Here's Delia Gonsalves with our Special Assignment Unit report.
We've seen this before. Let's take Southwest DC, for instance, one of the first communities in the whole country to get a facelift called urban renewal in the late 1950s. Neighborhoods in Southwest went from looking like this to this. It was a definite upgrade, but when the cranes and construction crews came in, thousands were pushed out. 23,000 residents, 1,400 businesses, all displaced. So with the new wharf set to open tomorrow, what will be the unintended consequence of what some call the 21st century urban renewal? What does gentrification mean to you?
Kind of like white flight in reverse.
Gentrification can kind of become this code word, I think, for resisting all change.
It carries with it historically some baggage.
The resident, the reverend, and the realtor. Gentrification affects them all, but in very different ways.
I feel for my wife more than I do for myself because moving out really, it was painful for her.
David White was pushed out of Southwest because of rising rents at Waterside Towers. Just around the corner,
You have to knock down a church like I did.
Pastor Michael Bledsoe's church is now this hole in the ground.
And I felt like I was at a patient's sickbed when I watched my church be razed.
And over on Capitol Hill,
It's exhilarating.
Don Denton of Coldwell Banker says business is booming.
We're in neighborhoods, working in neighborhoods that there was very little turnover, 10, 15 years ago. Generally, the economic profile is elevated. That's what happens. And yes, some people do lose.
What pisses me off actually is the fact that people of color have had problems that they have now for a long time. But it's only when higher income people come, then all of a sudden things get quote unquote better.
Tadefa Abeta didn't want to be part of that losing equation, so he stopped flipping houses and started a dog walking business.
Because at that time, I didn't want to be a part of gentrification.
Right around the same time Abeta was leaving the game,
It's all a way of leveraging the resource you have, which is property.
Reverend Bledsoe was trying to get in. Faced with an aging church and a small bank account, he cashed in on a great idea.
We created a development team to start at least asking questions.
The answer came nearly a decade later. Riverside Baptist Church is now making room for, frankly, what we see popping up all over town. A mixed-use building, part residential, part commercial. Out of 167 units here, 20 will be set aside for affordable housing for people making between $46,000 and $74,000 a year. In Southwest, the new mixed use includes churches like St. Augustine's over here. It has condos attached. But these churches didn't sell out, they sold up. Riverside Baptist, they're getting a $6.5 million church in the deal.
The reason we're still here is because people before us were able to flex with that change. When you cannot adjust to change, that's when it's dangerous.
These are drawings of what the new Riverside Baptist Church will look like. The pastor says it's about bringing the past with you instead of living in it.
We brought stone from the original church.
But the past hasn't always been kind to this congregation because they've been here before, almost 60 years ago. Urban renewal, it almost crippled them. The government tore down the original Fifth Baptist Church, forcing them to find a new home.
They had 1,000 members in 1957. You know how many members they had when they opened this church in 1968? 35. All those people were thrown out, displaced from Southwest. So we know this happens. I'm not sure how to prevent it.
Southwest looked like Capitol Hill. They lined up the bulldozers and leveled everything.
Don Denton, our realtor, says what makes this new development different than urban renewal is that private companies are driving the change.
It's gonna work, or they'll be bankrupt.
So while more homes and businesses are being built on the new Southwest Wharf, those swanky condos with big price tags, are simply out of reach for many.
My goodness, I've never seen so many construction cranes in my life.
Remember David White? Well, Southwest is not what he remembers, but he wants to move back, even though this change was the reason he had to leave in the first place.
Good for the Washington economy, bad for a lot of its residents because they're going to have to do like I did if they haven't done so already and move further out.
A big part of the Southwest waterfront is the country's oldest open-air fish market. We tried talking to some of the business owners, but they tell us they're suing the city, claiming all of this progress is pushing them out. We reached out to the developer, P.N. Hoffman, to weigh in on this story, and we're still waiting to hear back. Delia Gonzalez, WUSA 9.
If you're planning to check out the wharf in Southwest tomorrow, traffic is going to be a mess. So think about Metro or the new free Southwest shuttle bus service. And of course, if you're headed there, you may also need an umbrella.